morning, and this is how to do a mentor text. It's one way that we do it. This is called looping. And what looping is we borrow someone else's writing, we look at a text that is really well written or spoken or whatever, and we look at it, we watch it or read it, and then we take one line that we really like, or a phrase or something like that, and we use it as our first line of what we're going to write. So then we write that for allotted amount of time, and your allotted amount of time is 2.5 minutes. So you're going to have to use your timers on your phones, or you can watch the clock, whichever. It's totally up to you. So once you do that, you're going to write for 2.5 minutes. Don't worry about it being right. Don't worry about capitalization. Don't worry about, did I use this word right? You're just writing. Go where the writing takes you. If you just give yourself to the writing, your brain will take you. Even if you take the line and you just kind of start rambling, it'll eventually pick up. Okay, so you do that for 2.5 minutes. And you go back and you read it and you decide, hey, I really like this line. It doesn't really have to do with what the rest of the other story was about or whatever. It doesn't matter. You take whatever your favorite line from that box is, and you're going to highlight it, and then you're going to paste it in the next box. And you're going to use that line as your first line of this next quick write. You set your timer for 2.5 minutes, and you continue writing. You do it one last time, hence looping. You're doing it on a loop. Okay, so your third box is a line that you take from your second box. So we're never going back to the writing. We're always going back to the box that was before it. Because what we're doing is we're building. We're taking, okay, this writing that we read, we really like. I'm going to take a line from that, and now I have my own piece that I like. Okay, well, for my own writing, I like this line. So I'm going to use it down here, and I'm going to see where it takes me. Now I'm going to write for 2.5 minutes, and I'm going to write on that. Oh, I came up with this line that I really like, and I'm going to take that from here and put it down here. So we started with somebody else's writing, but we're ending up with our own writing that stemmed from that. And that's what a mentor text does, is we use a mentor text so that we can actually borrow from people who are published or that are good spoken word artists, which is what I use a lot of, because I think it's short and I think it's easy to access. So what I have here is a piece called Facts About Me by Tucker Bryant. And it is a YouTube video, so you can watch him perform it first. And then this is the text that actually follows through. So when you read it, you're going to go ahead and read it and then pick a line that you really like. So I'm going to take a pause so that I can go back and look at what line I like so I can show you the process. So hold on one second. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone through and I've picked my favorite line. There are a lot of really great lines here. And there is one naughty word, so just keep that in mind when you're looking for it. In the text, I changed it, but when he says it, it's towards the end. But anyway, I took this line that says, but being built like a short story is a lesson in finding other ways to be the tallest tale in the room. Okay, so I've set my timer to 2.5 minutes. I'm going to write for 2.5 minutes. I'm not going to show you me doing it because that'd be really boring. But I'm going to go ahead and write for 2.5 minutes. I'm going to pause the camera, but I'm going to write and then show you what I have afterwards. Okay? So I'll be back in just a second for you, but 2.5 minutes for me. Wow, that 2.5 minutes goes by fast when you're writing. So here's what I have. But being built like a short story is a lesson in finding other ways to be the tallest tale in the room. And by tale, I don't mean lie. And by tall, I don't mean fairy tale. I mean a story that is true but stands above the crowd, that is somehow able to be seen by everyone and understood. Because people need to understand other stories for them to really understand their own. Without hearing other stories, perspectives is lost. And we all have is our own short stories. Our stories and are only really stories in context of other stories. And in that way, we are all part of the same big story we all call life. Now, if I was going to edit that, if I was going to self-edit that as I was writing, I would be like, oh my God, I say the word story like 8 times. But I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this writing and I'm going to pick a line that I like that I wrote, and it doesn't have to be a whole line. It can be a word or two, or it can be a whole sentence. It's up to me. I'm going to choose one that I'm going to put in the box below. So give me a second. I'm going to put it on pause and then I'll be back at you. Okay, so I chose the line that I like, which is because people need to understand other stories for them to really understand their own. I'm going to use that line from mine up here, and I have mine highlighted so that you can see it, but I don't want you to actually highlight yours except for the line that you're going to use. There we go. So that line should be highlighted, and then your next line should be down here. That should be highlighted, and then after that, we don't want to highlight it, so we're going to unhighlight it, and then we're going to write for another 2.5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to write for 2.5 minutes, but again, put it on pause, and I will see you in 2.5 minutes. Okay? I mean, I could say, that's fine, but you probably wouldn't like that. Okay, so on that pass, I actually finished right about here. You can see where I'm showing you on the piece, but I went ahead and finished my thought, even though the time went off. So here's what I ended up with. I ended up with, because people need to understand other stories for them really to understand their own. Because once we understand what others have gone through, our perspective changes. We realize we have things that others want, and that we realize how far we have come. Our journeys never stop, and they don't ever really change. They veer off into other stories, and that's why meeting certain people changes our lives. Events change everything about our world, and we have these moments, these wonderful breathless moments, and not only take our breath away, but take away everything we thought we knew and reshape it into something completely different that we could never have imagined knowing. Okay, so I have this here. It's a spelling error. Don't care. Just keep writing. Now, I want you to keep in mind, do I expect you to write like this? No. I've been writing for years, okay? I'm old. I'm 48, so I have had some experience writing. You may write like this, and that's fabulous. Let's harness that. And you are writing from a different place than I am, so your perspective is different from mine. And I mostly write poetry and plays. So what I write, and you probably just write text messages, or maybe you write raps and flows or songs, okay? Let that carry you wherever it might take you. Maybe you hate writing and you're just doing this because you have to. Let it take you where it will take you, okay? So we're going to do it one more pass. We're going to do one more loop, and we're going to see where we go from there. Okay, so I'll see you in 2.5 minutes. Okay, and I'm back at you with my third pass. I chose the line, we have these moments, these wonderful breathless moments that not only take our breath away, but take everything we thought we knew. And it reshapes us. We see the world through different glasses that can make us smile and feel heartbroken and weep from what we so sorely never saw or never knew. Others' pain or joy that we will never be able to fully understand. A history we wish we could change, scars we wish we could heal, joys we wish we could capture and put in a small snow globe so people could always see it and remember when life gets too darn hard. All of these moments make up who we are, and others' moments only highlight our own, making us realize we aren't alone on this big blue marble we call Earth. Okay. So now's the last part where I'm going to go through all of my writings that I have, and you can see I've got my 3 writings. See, my first box, my second box, and my third box. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my favorite line, and I'm just going to write it in this box. So I'm going to go through all my lines. It might be the highlighted lines. It might be something completely different. Let me second, let me pick something out. Okay, so I've chosen my favorite line, which turns out to be the last line of the last paragraph I wrote, which is, and others' moments only highlight our own, let's see, I should change that, see, there's an error, our own, making us realize we aren't alone on this big blue marble we call Earth. So I started with the line from Tucker Bryant's spoken word. I started with his line, but being built like a short story is a lesson in finding other ways to be the tallest tale in the room, to my favorite line, which others' moments only highlight our own, making us realize we aren't alone on this big blue marble we call Earth. Those two things couldn't really be dissimilar. I mean, they could be a lot dissimilar. They could be the same. Doesn't matter. But I borrowed his writing in order to come up with my own. So now that I have this first line, when I write my downdraft later this week, I can use this as a first line, or I can use any of the lines, or I can start completely over. But that way I have a draft, and this is my writer's notebook. So at the end of the year, we're going to end up with lots of different drafts and different kinds of things where we have all these different types of writing included. So this is our mentor text number 1. Okay, and it is called, the title of it is called, I think it's called Facts About Me. So this is mentor text 1, Facts About Me. So what you need to do is you need to go through the same process I just showed you, and you need to have all of this read and written, not by tonight, but tomorrow night at midnight. So it is due tomorrow night at midnight. Okay, so that's how to do looping with a mentor text. All right, so I'll see you guys tomorrow, and have a great day.